Welcome to Trust Talks with BBB serving CT. I'm Kristen Johnson. In business, Trust Talks and Better Business Bureau's mission is to enhance marketplace trust. In each one of our episodes, we hope to give you a better idea of what to look for, what to look out for, and what to expect to spend your money wisely and avoid being scammed. And with spring in the air, we thought it no better time than to talk about spring cleaning. But today we're not just going to talk about cleaning your home, also cleaning your digital devices. To tackle those topics, we have two experts who are from BBB accredited businesses. Karen Larkin, owner of Belle Home Housecleaning in Milford, and Michael McLain, security technician at Rad Computing in Vernon. They're going to share some important tips and advice that you can really use any season. So thanks both of you for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Karen, let's start with you. Tell me a little bit about your business, Belle Home Housecleaning.
Belle Home has been in business since 2005 in Milford. We cover most of New Haven County, part of Fairfield County. We're women-owned, managed, and staffed. We're eco-friendly. We use plant-based products in all of our customer homes. And what sets us as being a little different from other house cleaning companies is we provide a very personalized service. We assign one house cleaner to each household so that our customers get a more personalized, consistent, great cleaning experience.
If someone has never gotten the chance to have their home cleaned, there are two options. You can hire a house cleaning company or a house cleaner. What are the big differences?
Well, a house cleaner typically will be for someone, a customer that wants to kind of manage their own cleaning. They want to tell the house cleaner what products to use, what rooms to clean, how to clean them. They might even want to clean alongside them. A house cleaning company will have they should have full insurance. They should provide all the supplies. They should have trained professionals working for them, and it's a more consistent service.
What is typically included in a basic cleaning?
Well, before you have a basic cleaning, you have a deep cleaning, and deep cleaning is top to bottom cleaning of everything, well, from the top down. So right from the ceiling right to the baseboards. And after the house, that usually is a team of people that go in and clean the house. And after that, the basic cleaning, which is weekly, biweekly, or monthly, would be maintaining those same areas.
Okay. What are some of the extras that you can often add on?
You can add on interior window cleaning. You can add on blind cleaning as long as they're the thicker blinds. The thinner blinds often get damaged by UV radiation and they get brittle, but we can do like the larger, thicker blinds or the plantation shutters. You can add on oven cleaning. You can add on refrigerator cleaning. Some professional house cleaning services will be able to clean your upholstery or your carpets or do laundry.
Let's go over some tips that BBB has when you're looking for a house cleaning company. First of all, research the company. I think that goes without saying for anything when you're spending your money, but you can do that at bbb.org, read reviews and complaints and see how the company responds to those complaints. And then next would be interviewing the candidates. What questions should we be asking?
Well, you should ask how they vet their employees. Do they do background checks on their employees? Ask them what's included in a cleaning. What's their satisfaction guarantee? And of course, you want to ask what the pricing is and what you can expect.
And then check credentials. Are there any state requirements here in Connecticut?
Not for licensing, but you might want to go onto the state of Connecticut website and see if the company is registered.
And then why is it important? You mentioned being insured, and then I've heard bonded also. Can you tell me about that?
Right. Well, the bonding it protects the customer against theft. The liability insurance would come into play if something was broken during the house cleaning. And the most important one, I think, is workers' comp. You want to make sure that whatever company you choose or individual you choose is carrying workers' comp because someone could get injured while they're cleaning a house. And you want the customer and the cleaner and the company to be covered for that.
Yeah, what happens if they don't have that kind of insurance?
I assume it would go on the homeowners or the customer's insurance, or there could even be, legal action.
Okay. And then BBB also suggests requesting references. That's often with house cleaners, though, not house companies.
Right.
And discuss costs. You already mentioned this, but oftentimes the price is a barrier. If you have a limited budget, can you still get your home cleaned?
You can. What you can do is, most companies will allow this. You can say, my budget is whatever your budget is, $200, and ask them, what can I get done for that? And they will say, usually, what are your priority areas? And then the company will clean that in order. So, maybe your priorities are the bathrooms and the kitchen, and with any remaining time, do the living room. Then that's what the company is going to do. And when they come to the end of your budget, they'll stop.
Oh, okay. And get everything in writing. That's our last tip. What should you look for in a written agreement?
Well, again, you want to see a satisfaction guarantee. What is the company going to do if something, they're not happy? You're not happy with the cleaning. How will they make that right for you? You want to see the cost, and you want to see exactly what they're going to provide for services.
And do you have any tips for preparing for the services? And the reason I ask is it's kind of personal. Whenever we've had our house cleaned, my husband's like, well, I feel like we do have to clean before the cleaners even come. I mean, is it essential and necessary to get everything off the floor and put everything away so that they can clean these spaces?
Well, you don't want to clean before the house cleaner comes. Like, you don't want to spray and wash and clean the toilet, because that's their purview. But you want to get the most value for your dollar, and you can get that by allowing the house cleaning company to get right to the surfaces. So the night before, and we send out a text reminder the night before to make sure that people remember that we're coming. Just declutter a little bit, so the house cleaner doesn't have to spend a percentage of her time, lifting things, moving boxes and bags and laundry. She can get right to the surfaces and get them clean for you.
Okay, Karen, I have a lot more questions, but I want to turn to Michael now and talk about giving ourselves a spring digital makeover. So in the spring, we always think about cleaning the clutter out of our homes, as Karen mentioned, but the one area many overlook isn't the corner of a room or a forgotten closet. It's those digital devices we use every day. We're talking tablets, computers, cell phones, and the like. Let's talk a little bit about digital spring cleaning, but first of all, tell me a little bit about Rad Computing.
Absolutely, Kristen. So Rad Computing is a managed service provider that's based out of Vernon, Connecticut. We service upwards of 100 different clients in various different types of business, some of them being aerospace, some of them being actually cleaning companies as well. And we do everything from set up workstations to maintaining workstations to doing audits for them to get them within compliance standards.
And even BBB, we see you guys up in our office from time to time. So back to the original question, why is it important that we take time to evaluate what is on our digital devices?
Well, it's very important in today's day and age because today our digital devices are so much more than just our phones and our tablets and our computers. They are a doorway into our entire lives. There are calendars. There are mode of messaging. There are bank keepers. There are bank tellers. We use our devices for absolutely everything in today's day and age. And we want to make sure that the data that we're putting through these devices is secure and isn't being able to be accessed by anybody out there.
Yeah, for many of us, our phones are our lives.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the most common or disruptive issues that occur from compromised data?
So this can be ever varying, and it's always waxing and waning in the effects that it can have on an individual.
If someone gets a hold of that information, I can only imagine what might happen.
Absolutely. Like we were saying, that we do our banking and shopping and everything on our phone. One of the things we want to be careful of is that we don't want to keep older applications installed and active on our phones. And the reason I say that is because older applications could be initially put out by one company that is very reputable, but 5 years down the line, you don't know who owns that application anymore. And you don't know who has those rights and permissions that you initially granted to one company to access those parts of your phone and that data that's stored on your phone. It's very important to go ahead and delete and remove old applications from your mobile, not just your mobile devices, but your laptops and your tablets as well.
So that's really where we start then, is deleting those old apps. And then once we've cleaned them out, what tips do you have to keep a clean machine?
To keep a clean machine, we want to make sure that you regularly go through and do the operating system and and firmware updates, which with Windows, which most people use nowadays, is just a couple clicks. You go into settings, go to update, and you update it. On our phones for Android and iOS, you just go to system updates and you make sure that you're regularly going through to update those devices, because as security flaws come out and come to light, the vendors go through and they patch those security issues and they fill in those holes so that threat actors can't access that data.
So
further.
those updates that we're constantly seeing, we shouldn't be ignoring them.
No, absolutely not.
Those include some very important security updates for our devices. There are things that we can and should be doing to keep our devices secure, correct? How do we lock down our login, for instance?
So for logins, one very important thing to remember is not to use the same password for all your different accounts. You want to make sure you have a complex and unique password for each one of your accounts. And the reason we say that is because if one company gets breached, part of that breach could be the threat actor getting an entire list of all the usernames and passwords. And if you use that same username and password for 3 other services, that gives the threat actor 3 other services that they can go in and compromise for you. So you want unique passwords. We like to recommend 14 to 16 characters long. We want them randomized, so you don't want them just your first name, last name, or password 123. Those are very compromising passwords to use because they have password lists that throw those out so that threat actor can run through an entire list and try all those passwords to log into your device.
Interesting. I've heard using like a passphrase, like maybe lyrics to your favorite song or an inspirational quote.
Absolutely. And when you're doing that passphrase, you want to throw in capital letters in there. You want to throw in symbols. You want to add numbers on. This can make it so that a simple dictionary attack will not be able to break through your password.
A dictionary attack. I've never heard that phrase before. Interesting. Yeah. Well, apps collect certain information about us. Is there some place we can find that information out before we download one?
Yes. So with applications, the Apple Store and the Google Store, they list all of the services that an application will need to use to operate correctly. You can go through and before you even download an application, you can review what it's going to ask for permission for, why it's going to ask it. Once you install an application, you can also go back and alter and remove certain permissions. So say you wanted to allow one of your applications to have GPS for a little bit while you were at a certain event because there's something tied to that event. You can allow it to have the GPS functionality for a short time, and then you can go off and remove those permissions so that it no longer has access to your whereabouts any day or time.
I think that kind of leads to the next question. I've heard that some stores will look for devices with the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth turned on to track our movements while we're in range. If we don't want them to do that, how can we stop it?
Well, there's a couple ways, Kristen. You can go through and actually turn off the Wi-Fi and turn off the Bluetooth features on your devices, or you can simply just put it in airplane mode, which shuts off both of those right then and there. If you're worried about being tracked when you're walking into a store, which many retailers are doing nowadays, you can shut those off, and then they have no way to communicate with your devices because it turns those services right off.
Okay. Now, what do we need to know about Wi-Fi hotspots and how they can compromise our personal information?
So Wi-Fi hotspots, the public ones, can be a very dangerous road. The reason I say that is because when you connect to a hotspot, it's offering a bridge from your device to the internet. Now, if you don't have control of that bridge and you don't know who does, they can be going through and siphoning off all your data right through your connection to that bridge. One of the ways to circumvent this is by using a commercial grade VPN service where it will encrypt all of your traffic back from end to end. So before it even connects to the internet, it encrypts it all and then decrypts it on the other side where it's connected to one of those companies' servers.
Interesting. So we talked about what to do with our devices, but what about old devices that that we don't want anymore? I've heard of shredding paper. What does it mean to digitally shred a device?
So digitally shredding, it's a little bit more complicated than just shredding paper. In today's day and age, one of the things we do at RAD is we do a DoD wipe. And what that entails is we not only wipe the device, but then we rewrite over the hard drive and all of the data on it. And we do this back and forth 3 times. And the reason we do this is because even once you erase data, if there's not something written over it, it can be brought back. It can be recovered. Once we go through and do the 3-pass DoD wipe, we also go ahead and drill a hole through the hard drive, essentially acting like our paper shredder to completely destroy any chances of recovering data from that device.
Okay, I was picturing people with hammers, like hammering the old equipment. And then what are our options of getting rid of old devices once you do that?
So there's a few options. At RAD, we take our clients and other people's old devices if they're looking to get rid of them, because then we can go ahead and we go through that process and we pull out all the hard drives out of all the computers, out of all the, well, you probably didn't think of this, but also all the printers. Many printers nowadays have hard drives in them that we have to pull out and erase and then drill. There's also drop boxes outside of some reputable electronic businesses where you can drop off your old devices. Before dropping them off, I would implore people to do your own wipe first, just because you don't know who may be pulling your device out of that basket.
So no matter what, don't send it to the landfill. There are other
Absolutely
options.
not.
You can sell it, you can maybe trade it in, but
Absolutely.
definitely wipe it first, give it away, recycle it, or have it destroyed. Is it true that failed drives still contain data? I mean, you said that you wipe them 3 times, so that would be a case, I guess, where if the drive has failed, it might still have data unless you drill that hole.
Yep. And what happens is data is stored usually multiple times on a drive, all throughout the drive, so that it becomes redundant. So if something does happen to one section of the drive, you don't lose all of your data. So just because one section of the drive is faulty or failing doesn't mean all that data is gone. And there are certain applications and programs out there that are made specifically for pulling out data from those corrupted and damaged drives, and which comes into play with the whole landfill. And so, like you were saying, people just throw out devices, not because the hard drive says it's failed. They think, oh, well, the data's all gone. It's not necessarily gone. That's why we implore people to do the DoD wipes and to bring them to a certified location so that they can be drilled out, so that they don't have to worry about their data ending up in only who knows his hands.
And that's particularly important, I guess, for individuals and for businesses. I was going to say for businesses, especially because they have a lot of information that they may not want to share with the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
Or have someone get their hands on. Okay, well, thank you. You've taught me a lot today, Michael. I appreciate it. Let's turn back to house cleaning. I have a couple more questions. We have some time. A lot of people, Karen, work from home these days. Is it important, or do the cleaners at least prefer that we leave while they're cleaning our homes?
I don't think so. I really don't think so, because over 50% of our customers work from home now. Everyone is hybrid. And the customer just goes to a room that we don't need access to, like, they'll go to their office and then they'll just switch out when the cleaner needs to clean that area.
What steps should we take if we're not going to be home to keep our belongings secure?
Well, you want to keep things where they belong all the time. So if you have jewelry, your jewelry should go in your jewelry box. If you have money, it goes in your wallet. If you have something that doesn't have a place, then you should put it in a drawer, because the house cleaning company won't access drawers. And as I told you before, like, if some people have weapons in their homes, and you should absolutely secure those. We went to change linens on a bed one time, and she lifted up the pillow and there was a handgun under the pillow. So those should always be secured, even if your cleaner isn't even if she isn't coming, you should always keep those kind of things secured.
And speaking of keeping belongings secure, what about pets?
Pets, we're pet friendly. Most house cleaning companies are pet friendly, but if you have an aggressive pet, absolutely put it in a crate or someplace that the cleaners don't need access to, like maybe a basement or an office. And even if you have like a rescue dog who may appear to be very shy, sometimes when a new person comes into the house or someone is vacuuming or doing something that's loud or moving around a lot, they can become aggressive. So we tell people, even if you have a very sweet rescue pet, you might want to just put her away just for the duration of the cleaning.
Good tip. What about tips? Do house cleaners expect to be tipped?
They don't expect to be tipped, but they definitely appreciate being tipped. And I think people should tip for personal services like house cleaning.
Okay. And Michael, a couple more questions. How do we stay cyber aware?
So security nowadays is a process. It's not really a product. So being able to stay cyber aware, just like technology, is almost ever changing and ever adapting and ever growing. A lot of media places, they'll put out alerts when breaches happen and when pertinent updates come out to secure and protect their clients. You want to make sure to keep up with those. Just like we said with the updates, a lot of times vendors will send out notifications. They'll send out emails. They'll do news or blog posts. You want to try to keep up to date on all of that stuff, because that's how you'll find out, oh, this super dangerous breach happened and now my data may be compromised. First thing you should do if you were to be in one of those situations is go ahead and change your passwords. Set a new unique and unidentifiable passwords so that so if they did happen to get your data, they no longer have access to your account or your data.
Yeah, it's really scary out there, and it seems like the scammers are always one step ahead, which is why it's really, as you said, important to just be aware and pay attention to those alerts. We've also seen an increase in scams since people started working from home. Do you have any advice of what people should do if they're in those situations working from home so they don't get hacked?
Yeah, absolutely. One very pertinent thing that I could say is think before you click. A lot of times we see spam and phishing emails come through where we don't know the sender, or the sender has a similar email address to somebody that we know, but it's not the same. And it's just showing up because our address book thinks it's the same, even though instead of Jeff at Gmail, it's J3FF@gmail.com. You want to make sure you double check before you click any links or any attachments that are attached to emails that you're receiving. Another very important tip is whenever you're handling anything financially related, if you get a request to change a payment or to change where you're sending a payment to, validate that request. Call the person. Use another form of messaging or calling outside of that email to verify that that person actually wanted you to change where you're sending those funds, and that the number that is in that email matches where they're looking for it.
Yeah, one of the biggest scams last year hitting businesses, according to BBB Scam Track, was those fake invoices and those requests for payment that didn't actually exist. And if people had just asked their boss, hey, pick up the phone and say, hey, did you really request this? They would realize that it was
Could have circumvented a lot of it.
Yeah, it was a scam. Karen, you talked a little bit earlier. We talked about how people are working from home now. I want to go back a couple years because, COVID obviously had a big impact on the cleaning business. It had a big impact on your business, I know. How did you pivot during that time, and how do you continue to be so successful coming out of it?
Well, we changed COVID, during COVID and even after COVID, people didn't want anyone in their homes. So we went to commercial cleaning, first of all. And then when people did invite us back to their homes, we offered different services like disinfecting the surfaces in their home as part of a house cleaning. Now people are working in their homes more than ever, and because they're spending more time in their home, they want their home cleaned.
Mm-hmm. And you also started a new program for seniors, and it's something that got the attention of BBB, and you actually won an award for it, the Phoenix Award, for the way that you kind of pivoted during the pandemic, came out of it, and found yourself growing your business even more.
Yep, that's true. We won that last year, and we have 4 or 5 offerings now, very specific offerings for senior citizens, for pet owners, for, as you mentioned before, people who might be limited by budget and only want partial house cleanings, or want a full 1 week and a partial the next week. So we've tried to be more flexible in our offerings.
And you've been accredited for now 5 years with Better Business Bureau. Tell me what that accreditation means to your business and what you hope it says to your clients.
It's been very useful for us, not just for existing customers, but really more for prospective customers, because it shows them that we're a serious, honest, ethical business and that we take customer service and customer satisfaction very seriously.
And same question to you, Michael. Rad Computing has been accredited with BBB for about a dozen years now. How does that accreditation help Rad Computing, and what do you hope it says to your customers?
I think it shows to, like Karen said, to even our prospective customers that we take this all seriously. We take our customers' needs seriously, and we have a great third party going through and actually verifying that, yes, they've seen that we take it seriously, and we have a rating that goes along with that. The small businesses are the heart of our local economy, and the great thing about the Better Business Bureau is it offers a peek into the window for each of those small businesses so that two small businesses can partner together, and they know that they're partnering with a reputable and well-standing business to get services done and to work together to serve the needs of the community.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you, Michael, and thank you, Karen, both for being with us today. I've learned a lot, and I hope and expect that viewers have learned a lot too. So thank you so much. And
thanks for having us.
We've got some cleaning to do both inside our home and on our devices. So thank you again.
Thank you.
And as Michael was saying, you can go to bbb.org. You can look up both Rad Computing and Belle Home Housecleaning and look at the reviews. And look up any sort of company that you would like, and not only read those reviews, but read any complaints that you see. Look for that BBB seal and see how the business handles those complaints. Again, we thank both Michael and Karen for being with us today, and we thank you for joining us as well for this episode of Trust Talks. We'll see you next time.
Follow us on Instagram at nutmeg.tv.